potentially put a little bit of pressure on Hwaisin, because Hwaisin's force primarily consists of medic and marines, but he has got that science vessel out as well, and now Zero rushing in, trying to draw those marines away so that his lurkers can get in range. One of the great micro by Hwaisin, and he's an expert at killing units and retreating with those medic and marines. Hwaisin is just so good at that. Meanwhile, Zero putting a hatchery down primarily to get that gas, and that is obviously a feature of this map. Zero circling around and trying to, and he's going to be forced to retreat with those lurkers. Siege tank out for Hwaisin as well, but the main purpose of those lurkers by Zero is just to buy himself time to get that defiler den up, to delay the Terran push. If you don't delay the Terran push, the Terran can get right up at the door. And again, brilliant by Zero. He's really keeping the harass up on Hwaisin. He's not letting Hwaisin rest or relax or just have things his own way. Ever since he's got those mutalisks out, he has constantly been at Hwaisin's heels, just snapping away like a terrier, and not allowing him to settle, not allowing him to get a push going. And that's exactly what he needs to do. He needs to delay and delay and delay for as long as possible, and just move back and force his opponent, really ideally, to use siege mode with his attacks. That's what he really wants. He wants his opponent being forced to go into siege mode, and that's exactly what Hwaisin is being forced to do. Meanwhile, he's continuing to build up his forces, and really this is kind of almost a little bit reminiscent of Xavier's style of play, but I guess it is pretty expected in this kind of old school almost StarCraft that we're seeing for these two players. And Hwaisin is only now going to be starting, and Hwaisin needs to inflict some damage here, folks, because it feels to me like Zero is pulling ahead a little bit, because Hwaisin has built up that large force, but he still hasn't started up his expansion, and Zero has had his second expansion running for some time now, and I believe he's got another expansion now up for another gas, so Zero is going to be in a pretty strong position. Zero circling around with the Mutalist trying to catch the siege tank, and he's almost snipes that SCV, and he's not able to snipe that SCV. He did lose a Mutalisk or two in the process, and now Hwaisin's built a pretty strong force, but Zero's doing a great job of keeping him at home with those Mutalisks and Zerglings, but this is going to be probably a crucial battle here in the middle of the map. Zero going to try and get some sort of a pincer maneuver on Hwaisin, try and get a flanking maneuver on him. Zero coming around with the Zerglings and Lurkers, and what he really needs is a couple of Scourges. He needs to pick off those science vessels, because that would give him the time to get those defilers out. Hwaisin now securing that neutral command center in the middle of the map. I think I heard, and now Zero coming in at Hwaisin's place, and he's got Scourges as well, but I think the Scourges get taken out. D-Matrix, a couple of Scourges coming in. Science vessel is going to get taken out. Science vessel gets taken out, and he's going to lose most of his ground forces as well. Only one siege tank remains. The medic and marines pushed back. The Lurkers trying to get in range of the last siege tank. They are going to burrow. Scan going off. He's just trying to inflict as much damage as he can, but he doesn't want to concede this position. He doesn't want to concede the neutral command center in the middle. We've seen how deadly that can be previously. Well, actually, I've heard about it. I haven't seen it, but I heard about the use of infested Terrans. But I think Zero will be very content with that. Hwaisin was a player who needed to do the damage. Zero now putting down 2 more hatcheries in his main. Hwaisin was a player I felt that needed to do the damage there, because he has only just gotten his second command center up quite late. Really, he got his expansion up quite late, and Zero's had those 3 bases running for a while now, and Zero's able to replenish his forces quite quickly, and once again forcing Hwaisin back. Hwaisin obviously an expert at retreating battles with the medic and marine force, but he lost his science vessel as well as all of his siege tanks. He's only got the 1 science vessel right now, and he's only still got 3 racks, I believe, whereas Zero is now macroing up heavily, and Hwaisin, I feel, has got his back to the wall a little bit, and perhaps Hwaisin didn't do as well as I thought he did in the initial attack, because really Zero's been at his heels from that point on, and been putting the pressure on consistently, and Hwaisin has not really been able to venture past halfway in the base. He's got 1 siege tank, and that siege tank is going to get taken out, D-Matrix by Hwaisin on that siege tank, but that siege tank nonetheless is going to get taken out. He's not going to be able to save it, and the siege tank gets killed, and Hwaisin just has nothing really compared to what Zero has. Hwaisin's got maybe a single group of medic and marines. He has got a couple of science vessels. I think Zero, the one mistake Zero can make here, I think at this point, I think I can safely say that Zero is well ahead, but the one mistake he can make is allowing Hwaisin's science vessel count to build up. He needs to keep producing those Scourges and keep taking those science vessels on. Hwaisin's now got 2 science vessels. Zero coming in for another attack at Hwaisin's front entrance, at his main, at his natural expo, but Hwaisin just holds him off with a siege tank, a couple of medic and marines, and a bunker as well. Irradiate now going off on the Lurkers, but Zero has got a lot of Lurkers there. Another Lurker getting irradiated, trying to get within range, but getting taken off before he can get there. But Hive already complete for Zero, and indeed that is a mineral only at the bottom right hand corner of the map, but Zero does have the 3 gas running from that other hatchery, although he hasn't had that running for that long, because that hatchery did go down a lot later than the one in the bottom right hand corner of the map, which is a min only expansion, so he hasn't had the 3 gas for that long, which is why his hive is only just now coming out. But he is getting ready to take that command center infested, because he has held Hwaisin back, and Hwaisin now pushing out, and it's just a matter of time. This is going to be pretty close as to whether or not Hwaisin is going to be able to deny Zero that infested that command center. And now Zero coming out with a couple of scourges, and Hwaisin micros those science vessels back into the range of his marines and manages to rescue them. And really, he needs to be a little bit more effective. You can't just send your scourges in blindly. You have to use them in the middle of a fight, and that's where Zerg multitasking is demonstrated in how effective you are at actually taking down. And Zero with a massive science force once again pushing forward, going to try and catch that siege tank, and the siege tank does pull back in time, but he loses a decent bunch of marines to those lurkers, and Hwaisin once again with a counter push out, but Hwaisin really locked down in the bottom left hand corner of the map, not able to move out, and that's Zero has now got that queen out, and Zero is in a very, very strong position in this game, in my opinion, guys. And Zero is able to keep flash. As long as Zero is able to keep flash in that bottom left, he doesn't need to defend his other bases as much. He's been able to get another expansion down at the 2 o'clock position, and really it seems to me that Zero has played a pretty strong game of StarCraft here, and he's really retained control in this game as well, pretty much from when he defended against Hwaisin's bunker rush. So you've got to give him credit for that. Hwaisin now once again moving out with 3 siege tanks and a couple of control groups of medic and marines, but he's only got, I think, maybe 2 or 3 science vessels. That is the only criticism that I have of Zero. And Hwaisin now coming in with a dropship. He knows he needs to do something. He knows he needs a game changer here, and the infested Terran is popping up. Meanwhile, Hwaisin's going to drop at Zero's natural expo. He's dropping a group of medic and marines. Zero meanwhile busy fighting Hwaisin, and that's brilliance by Hwaisin. He's using the fact that, and he's continuing to kill drones. He's killed about 10 drones, and now the scourge is coming in. The dropship gets taken out. Lurkers and Zerglings coming in, but that was horrible play by Zero. It has to be said, he really let himself down there. He lost so many drones to one dropship full of medic and marines. I'm not sure if that is enough, because Zero has got a pretty strong economy, and obviously because a Zerg player has so many bases, his drones are spread out as well. But I think Hwaisin killed almost 10 drones there, and Hwaisin not able to take the command center, and Zero with the infested Terrans is using them to maximum effect. Now going to come and ram those siege tanks. Still the siege tanks get picked off, and Hwaisin, he just is grimacing. That was painful. That was a punch to his gut. That was the fist to his stomach, and that's gonna hurt, guys. Infested Terrans, and Hwaisin unfortunately contained in the bottom left hand corner of the map, not able to take that command center, even though he knows the potential that Zerg players have of using that with infested Terrans. He's not been able to do anything about it, and Zero has maintained control on that. Now the Defiler is coming in as well, and Hwaisin nowhere near the picture. He just hasn't been able to put any pressure on Zero. Zero now pushing through, pushing forward, and really Hwaisin has to do something here. I don't know what he can do. He's tried the dropship, and it's just a question of whether he's inflicted enough economic damage, but he hasn't even been able to build up a large enough fleet of science vessels, and really the fact that he got his natural expo up so late against Zero, and you've got to give a lot of credit to Zero, because even though Hwaisin built the advanced racks and Zero saw that and he went for the 12 hatch, 12 pool, he straight away still did go for that expansion. Straight away, which I guess I suppose he would have done that anyway, but obviously there was a risk that he would not have been able to defend it with Hwaisin's bunker. Actually, you know what, guys, I'm talking complete nonsense. It was just great defense by Zero off that bunker rush. He really defended that brilliantly and has not looked back since. So let's just leave it at that. But Hwaisin getting pushed further and further. He's trying to find some way to maneuver around these lurkers, and another science vessel gets picked off, and he's left with only the one science vessel. And really, you've got to feel he's built up a fleet of about 3 science vessels, but he hasn't pushed out with them. I guess he's just trying to conserve them. He's got about a total of 5 science vessels now, and that really is Hwaisin's only hope if he can get some mass irradiates. But at this stage, Zero's economy is so gigantic, and he's got so much map control and so many units that I'm not sure if Hwaisin can really do anything against. And he's got those infested Terrans as well, and he's just really been dominated in this game, guys. I just feel that Zero's been ahead for most of the game once Hwaisin's bunker rush failed. Great Spider-Mine placement, managed to take out a few Zerglings, but not the infested Terrans, which is what the purpose was. The infested Terrans managed to take out the bunker as well. They hurt. Those suicide Terrans are just infested Marines are just, oh my god, just hurting the Terran players so much. Great irradiates by Hwaisin, managed to catch 5 lurkers with that irradiate, but really you feel that he's not inflicting enough damage. He has managed to build up a decent sized science vessel fleet, which is obviously the backbone of any bio build army, of a Terran army, but you just fear that it might not be enough at this stage to against an opponent with a vastly superior economy. Hwaisin does have that expansion in the bottom left, obviously behind his base. Now Zero coming in with large groups of Zerglings just rushing up